Good afternoon, my fellow students. So today, I want to tell you a quick story, and then we'll go through a couple things here that I pulled up. I was with a friend and ran into a person who didn't know me, that should have known me, that had seen me before. And I bent over and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" Gave me this look like I was the lowest thing on the planet. And I asked my buddy, because that's who he would always see this person and play cards with him. I don't play. And I'm like, what was that? Well, you know that her income is $60,000 a month. And, you just don't travel in their circles. Well, I happen to know where this person lives. I've been out there. It's got a golf course. But I looked, and this person dresses up real nice all the time when I see her, and it was just shocking to me. Just I could see, because I dealt with her before, but I had seen where I saw through the spiritualness. I looked at the eyes, and the eyes are the windows to the soul. And I was like, I need to say something about this, about people, because this person's pretty advanced in age. And I mean, I'm not joking. A couple $100,000 in jewelry on. Okay, really, no kidding. So I said, something just told me, I said, you can't take it with you. But some people try. Let me read some things that people think that they're going to take with them to the other side. And the first thing that popped in my mind was when I was a kid in Florida, a guy got buried in his car. And here it is, a 1967 Chevy Corvette sitting inside a plexiglass vault. They gutted the car and put the vault inside the car. How about another man buried in his Cadillac? Another man buried in a brand new BMW. Do you know that people have been buried on or next to their Harley Davidsons? I believe it was Genghis Khan that nobody knew where he was buried, and they think that they redirected the river over there in the Tigris River to bury him, and then they put the river back over it, and they kill everybody. They killed everybody that knew where it was, or almost everybody was killed. And I believe I read something where everybody was killed, and then the last person committed suicide. Then we got people that were buried with their animals. Cats, dogs, falcons, even mummified pets. Here's one for you. When I grow up, a kid in the neighborhood, the oldest son of a family, became a mortician. And when his grandmother, who lived with him, I'm not joking, dog passed away, he embalmed the dog and they put it up on the mantle. The dog's name was Tuffy. It was a little tiny poodle about so big. Sorry, man, if you see this podcast, you'll know who I'm talking about, because the brothers, I don't know. I just don't know. The horses were buried with warriors. And some people get buried with their pets' ashes. Gangsters, they get buried with stuff, watches, jewelry, cash. How about weapons? The Vikings were buried with swords and shields, and sometimes even entire ships. Samurais buried with armor and their blades, guns, medals, military uniforms. I know that when my grandfather was buried, his Masonic ring, he did not wear it when he was buried. It says here one woman was buried with a TV remote because she loved television. People were buried with their cell phones so their family could call them. Okay, that reminds me of when people were buried before they didn't understand that some people could actually still be alive before they embalmed them, and they would actually put a line down into the coffin, so if somebody woke up, where there was a line running up outside with a bell, they can ring the bell. A baseball fan was buried in full team gear. Someone was buried with their lottery ticket collection. A man was buried with his favorite recliner chair, and gamblers buried with cards and dice. Now, Tutankhamun, chariots, beds, jewelry, weapons, food, clothing, and enough treasure to shock archaeologists. Qin Shi Huang from China, guarded by a massive terracotta army, thousands of clay soldiers for the afterlife. And sometimes Viking chiefs, that's incredible, that's over there now. Were buried, sometimes the Viking chiefs were buried with full ships, servants, animals, weapons, and supplies. Now, we brought nothing into this world, and we cannot take anything out of this world. Timothy. What will profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Okay. Interesting. But now let's look at some things that might be a little bit tougher. You know that in ancient Egypt, they buried their servants with them, sometimes alive. The Vikings, they had slave women, servants, buried with them. Let's see. Ahmad ibn Fadlan, an Arab traveler, described a Viking chieftain's funeral where a slave girl volunteered or was pressured to die and was killed to accompany him into the world, into the next world. Excuse me. That's brutal. Ancient China, rulers and nobles had servants, soldiers, concubines buried with them. I mean, it goes on and on. They wanted the servants to serve them after their death. Locked in forever. What if your master was a real piece of work, which they usually were? So anyway, I was just thinking about it, and that's what flashed on me when I was given that look. So remember how you look at other people, like homeless people, side of the road, they're poor, they're hurting. Don't look down on anybody. You can end up in that spot in a minute. It's the same thing I said about don't mock. You make fun of somebody, all of a sudden you're in that position. You look back at the Great Depression where they said basically New York was raining bodies, people jumping out of the buildings. So it doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor you are, there's always going to be somebody richer, always somebody poorer. And your discernment and your spiritual health depends on how you react to people that do things like that. The look I got immediately made me look at myself and go, please God, don't let me look at other people like that. Self-judgment. Just thought I'd tell you a little story. Have a great day.